If you remember, Wells Fargo cut their dividend because they weren't allowed to pay the full one.
Yep.
Banks have been paying dividends. No banks have been buying back stocks. So that's really the big X factor there.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's important too, because I think for most people, for most investors, I mean, you would invest in banks. I mean, that would be really sort of the crux of the thesis. I mean, these aren't your newfangled tech companies that are going to be growing by leaps and bounds, right? I mean, you really are, part of the thesis is the dividends, the income, and the share repurchases returning value over longer periods of time. And so, I mean, to that point on Wells Fargo, because if listeners will remember, I mean, Wells Fargo is that's the stock that that's the financial stock that you picked for 2021. Remember, we had our show at the beginning of the year, and Wells Fargo was your financial stock to watch for 2021. Partly because they had been coming from such a dark place, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, they've really been going through a lot of trouble there recently, and it seemed like shares were reflective of that. I mean, it's been a decent year for Wells Fargo so far. Shares up about 28%, outpacing the market nicely. It feels like there could be plenty of room for Wells to run here for the rest of the year, particularly given this news.
Yeah, and if you think it's been good so far, wait until they're approved to buy back, say, 10% of their shares over the next year, or to bring their dividend back. I mean, even their CEO said it's going to take a little while for the dividend to get back to normal levels, or to pre-pandemic levels. But I mean, there's no reason they won't be approved to spend a few billion on share buybacks.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
And their stock's still trading at a pretty big discount to book value. So, I mean, they're buying their assets back for, very cheaply when they're using share buybacks. So I think there's a lot of room for value creation just in the buybacks and dividends, not necessarily in growth of the business. That's, a bonus if Wells Fargo is eventually allowed to grow. Remember, that Federal Reserve penalty that says they can't grow is still in place.